Parshas Naso, the week before Shavuos, Kabbalah Satorah. We'll try to do a little bit of everything in the regular amount of time. We won't double the, just because we get a double dose, it's going to be a concentrated dose tonight. We'll try to get everything in. We'll start with the Parsha. This week's Parsha, in the middle of the Parsha, we're very familiar with Berachos Kahanim, something everybody is familiar with. Pasuk in Berachos Kahanim, the last pasuk, Yisa Hashem Panav Elecha, Yisa Hashem Panav Elecha, V'Yosem L'cha Shalom. Everybody knows, everybody's familiar with that pasuk. It ends with Shalom. Berachos Kahanim ends with Shalom. So I'm going to tell you over an interesting medrash. The medrash in Bamidbar Rabbah says as follows: Bamidbar Rabbah Yud Aleph, Godol HaShalom She'ein Chaysim Kol HaTfilah Ela Shalom. Shalom, peace, is great. Why is peace great? One of the reasons peace is great is because we know that every single tefillah, every davening ends with Shalom. And Zok the Medrash, Ve'ein Chaysmin Berachos Kahanim Ela Shalom. And every time we do Berachos Kahanim also ends with Shalom. Another thing we know, the Mishnah, Pirkei Avos, Perek Aleph, which we learned a few weeks ago, we'll learn again in 2 weeks in Eretz Hashem. The Mishnah says, Hillel Omer, Heveini Talmidov Shel Aharon, be one of the Talmidim of Aaron, Oihev Shalom, love Shalom, V'roidev Shalom, run after Shalom. Right? That's the end of the Mishnah. But that's, we see right away, Hillel Omer, you should be from the Talmidim of Aaron HaKohen, Oihev Shalom, V'roidev Shalom. We also, if you look around, you find many other Ma'amorei Chazal that talk about Shalom. First of all, in a couple of weeks, the Parsha says by Pinchas, Hineni Noisein Loi Es Brisi Shalom. We know by Pinchas it says that, and the Medrash says over there also, Godel HaShalom Shenitin LePinchas She'ein Ha'olam Miskayim Ela B'Shalom. The world stands on Shalom. The Torah is Shalom, we say also. Derecha Darchei Noyam B'chol Nesivos Yisrael Shalom. The Torah is also Shalom. And then we see many Hamavorachas, Hama Yisrael B'Shalom, many different things, and there's a tremendous emphasis on Shalom. It's interesting to note also, there's a Masechta not many people know about, Masechta Derech Eretz Zuta. Masechta Derech Eretz is actually a Masechta about that. And I know you're all thinking, I'd love to give the Masechta, give the Sefer to some people I know. But there is a Masechta Derech Eretz Zuta. The entire last perek of Masechta Derech Eretz Zuta is dedicated to this theme. And every single Mishnah over there begins with Godol Hu HaShalom. That Shalom is great. And some of the things that are mentioned there in the Masechta Derech Eretz Zuta is Shalom is great because it says the name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu is Shalom. Peace refers to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The name of Mashiach will be Shalom, whatever that means. It says that Mashiach is also Shalom. It says Klal Yisrael is called Shalom. Tremendous amount of things. And there's actually something very interesting. The Sifri says something on this, which is we're going to try to explain what it means exactly. The Sifri says on this week's Parsha that Shalom is so great that it's actually on par with all the Ma'aseh Bereishis, with everything that HaKadosh Baruch Hu created. He created Shalom, and Shalom is on par, peace is on par with everything else together. How do we know that? Because we say every day in davening, it's actually not the exact quote, but we say every day in davening, Oiseh Shalom, Uvarei Es HaKol. HaKadosh Baruch Hu makes peace, made Shalom, Uvarei Es HaKol, and at the same time, He created everything else. So we see that they are equal to each other. Shalom, peace, is equal to everything, totally. The total Ma'aseh Bereishis, everything was worth it, everything is on par, everything is equal with Shalom. So Nesiv Shalom on this week's Parsha explains, or he wants to explain in a few different ways, why is it that Chazal held the Midah of Shalom in such high regard. There are many Midas, and we stress many Midas, and we talk about many Midas. but it doesn't look like anything. And if you look through the Sifrei Chavetz Chaim, the Chavetz Chaim in Shmiras HaLashon, and Sefer Chavetz Chaim in the Shmiras HaLashon, he talks so much. It's an entire section devoted to Shalom, what Shalom is. We see that Chazal put a tremendous emphasis on Shalom. Shalom is something, there are many other midas, but in this midah of Shalom, there's a tremendous emphasis put on that. So we have to analyze, and Siva Shalom says we want to analyze what exactly is Shalom. Before we explain why there's an emphasis, let's talk about what Shalom is. So one thing we could say for sure. One thing we know that Shalom does not mean, some people mistake, they think Shalom means the absence of machlokes. People think that if there's no machlokes, then there's Shalom. And not only that, so we know that Shalom doesn't mean that. It does not mean the absence of machlokes. Another thing we know that Shalom doesn't mean, think about this for a second, Shalom does not mean the peace in the Middle East. That's also not peace. That's also not Shalom. Because over there they think, in the Middle East, that if you're not killing each other for 5 minutes, then it's Shalom. Then it's peace. That also can't be peace. So what is Shalom? So Shalom is, if you take a look, we say in Kaddish, Oiseh Shalom Bimroimah. That HaKadosh Baruch Hu makes Shalom. Where does he make Shalom? Bimroimah. He makes Shalom amongst the Malachim. And we know the Malachim are not petty. They're not people. Malachim do not have machlokes. So it must be something more than just the lack of machlokes. Because if we use the word Shalom, Oiseh Shalom Bimroimah, HaKadosh Baruch Hu makes Shalom amongst the Malachim, it must mean something deeper, something much more than just the absence of machlokes. So we know, we've actually said a couple different times here this year, we've said it in a few different places, where it's brought down in Sifrei Kabbalah and other Sfarim, that really everything in the world, and we've said this a couple of times, everything in the world is actually a combination created from 4 things. We have to understand this a little bit, but everything is created from Eish, Ruach, Mayim, and Afar. Those 4 things: fire, wind, water, and afar, and dirt. That's what everything is created for. But if you take a look at it, if the world is created and everything in matter, all matter is created from those 4 things together, right? Each one of these things actually cancels the other one out. If you try to create something with fire and water together, the water is going to put the fire out. The dirt is going to gunk up the whole thing. Everything, the wind is going to blow out the fire. The water, none of them can actually coexist. And really, if you think about it, nothing should be able to exist. The entire Bria is full of opposing forces, right? The HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the world. There's winter and summer. There's day and night. Everything is opposing each other. So how is it that the entire world exists if everything's created from opposing forces? Eish, Mayim, Ruach, Upper. How does that happen? So comes HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and he created something l'mayla min hateva, something which actually could keep the entire world going, and that is Shalom. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says that all you opposing forces, everything that the world is created with, comes HaKadosh Baruch Hu and says that now it is Shalom. And not only do they coexist together, but they complement each other. We all know that the seasons, the cold and the warm, in order to make things vegetate, in order to make things grow, the cold and the warm, the night and the day, not only do they exist with each other, but they complement each other. And each one many times can't do without the other one. And that is only with Shalom. Therefore, we say, Oiseh Shalom u'vorei es hakol. That's why Shalom is connected everything else in creation. Because without Shalom, without peace, nothing in creation could last. Nothing would last 5 minutes. Nothing would last any time at all. That's why Shalom is on par with everything in creation. Therefore also, it's such a great thing. We said HaKadosh Baruch Hu is called the name of Shalom. Of course HaKadosh Baruch Hu is called the name of Shalom. Shalom is what keeps the entire world going. Shalom is what makes the entire world exist. And if you take a look by the Malachim, we see that we said HaKadosh Baruch Hu makes peace, Shalom with the Malachim. We know that Malach Gabriel and Malach Michael each serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu with opposite koiches. One serves HaKadosh Baruch Hu with Chesed, and the other one serves HaKadosh Baruch Hu with Gevura. And how is it that they all get along? They all get along because they have one purpose in mind. The Shalom is, they have one purpose in mind. They're at peace with each other. They don't argue because their goal is one goal, to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And that's how HaKadosh Baruch Hu is Oiseh Shalom Bimroimah. So the Siva Shalom says
that the peace amongst the Malachim and peace in the entire Bria is totally in one thing, Dr. Naso Shalom. He said that's totally in Shalom amongst Klal Yisrael. Because if Klal Yisrael is b'shalom, if Klal Yisrael is getting along with each other, if Klal Yisrael is at peace, then you can have Shalom b'mroimov. Then you can have Shalom with the Malachim. And then you can have Shalom in the entire Bria. So if a person you want to have Shalom in the Bria, people are thinking, they're racking their brains, how could you have peace with your neighboring countries? How could you have peace with your neighbors? You know how you can have peace? You know when you have Shalom, if you get along, if the Yidden, if Klal Yisrael, if everybody gets along with each other, that's the beginning way to have peace in the entire universe. Sai over here on this world, and Sai up, and Sai with the Malachim. And therefore, now we could understand the Mishnah, Dr. Naso Shalom, that we said, Hevei Talmidov Shel Aaron. Be from the Talmidim of Aaron. Why does the Mishnah have to say that? The Mishnah should say, Hillel Omer, Oyev Shalom Oyev Shalom. Hillel says, be Oyev Shalom Oyev Shalom. Why Hevemi Talmidav Shel Aaron? Because the Mid of Aaron was not just to sit back and admire Shalom. Aaron was roiding. Aaron was a person who wasn't happy if he ever saw anything going on around him, that it was a machlokes or anything. He actively pursued Shalom. He wasn't just happy with Shalom. That's why the Naso Shalom says, if we want to bring Mashiach, if we want to bring Taka peace to the entire universe, you want to bring peace to the Bria, you have to be Mitalmidav Shel Aaron, that you make an active effort to go after Shalom. And Be'emes, this week, that's the theme of this week of Kabbalas HaTorah. By Kabbalas HaTorah, the Yidden said Nasa v'nishma. What's Nasa v'nishma? Zok Naso Shalom. That Nasa v'nishma is a bittul of Yeshus. It's a bittul of yourself. They said, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, whatever you say, we're going to listen. Nasa v'nishma is a bittul of Yeshus. And what is machlokes? Machlokes invariably is the opposite of the bittul of Yeshus. Machlokes is it's always about me. It's always about me in quotations. Nobody takes on a machlokes if he doesn't care about himself. That's just human nature. That's the way it is. And you see that machlokes is the antithesis. If there's machlokes, there cannot be a Kabbalas HaTorah. A machlokes goes against Nasa v'nishma. It can't be. That's why when they came to Har Sinai, they had to have Vayichan Shom Yisrael Neged Ahar K'ish Echad B'Leiv Echad. They had to be together because that was the only way to have a Nasa v'nishma. And everybody has to know today that when we say Ein Divrei Torah Mekayim El B'Misha Meimis Atzmei El, the Naso Shalom says that means, besides the fact, besides what we learned in the Mishnah, but in Ein Divrei Torah, if a person wants to have a Kabbalas HaTorah this week, it's B'Misha Meimis Atzmei El, where he makes himself into nothing. There's no zich, there's no yeshus, there's no machlokes, there's no I'm me, how could you do this to me? I'm the gay on this, how could you do this to this? No, Nasa v'nishma means that we're total mevatel ourselves to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. To totally mevatel ourselves, to listen to the word of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and there's no I, there's no me, there's no yeshus over here. So that's what we have to keep in mind this week when it comes to Kabbalas HaTorah, that we have a lesson to learn from Kabbalas HaTorah. This year it comes out, Parshas Naso, usually Parshas Bamidbar is the Shabbos right before Shavuos. This year it's unusual. The Parshas Naso comes out right before Shavuos, and this year we have that. We have this very important lesson and something we can learn from this week's Parsha, that we should talk to be zoicha to a real Kabbalas HaTorah and find a real way to be makabel the Torah. I want to wish everybody a good Shabbos, a good Yom Tov. I don't think next week is probably a week off from the Shir. Next week it'll be Motzei Yom Tov. But we can concentrate for the next few days on this way, learning this lesson of peace, learning this lesson of Shalom to bring us to a Kabbalas HaTorah.